the season where for a lot of these boys, they might have had a debut already, but for some of them, this is the debut. So working out the kinks a little bit, tuning up for meets in the future, this is an opportunity for all of them to really work through their process.
I know some of the venues in Eastern PA had an early start like the 3rd or the 8th or 9th of December, and then maybe some athletes did go into a pause, like the distance runners on the college side. They hit that early, hopefully, qualifier up at Boston University or elsewhere, and then they went into their Christmas break, went on long training runs to build back what they did in cross country. But no cross country for these athletes. They're the 200-meter sprinters, heat number 2. Again, Montague, Evans, Adams, Woodhouse, Chudhuri, and Goins in the middle of the track. All the action in 3, 4, and 5. That is Adams and Woodhouse.
Adams really turning on there in lane 3 toward the backstretch here, or home stretch.
So Kari Adams trying to catch, but not going to be able to catch Matthew Goins from Bullis School. He had run 22:06. Today he runs 22:34 for the victory in Heat 2.
Continuing the theme that's been built over the first 30 minutes, Bullis School, Bullis School, Bullis School.
I mean, seriously, it has to be very difficult potentially to make the travel squad to some meets. You could be the number 5 sprinter, and they're only taking 4 for the relay plus the individuals.
Well, the beauty of the VIA Showcase for Bullis is that it's, you know, a 2-hour, 3-hour car ride. You can take more to this meet than in most national championship meets in Boston or at New York. So I think this is an opportunity for a lot of the young athletes to maybe get a taste of it for the first time.
And we will see one of their biggest stars later this weekend. Already an NIL signee with New Balance, right?
I just name him Quincy. He goes by Quincy now.
So other people would say Quincy Jones, but now we have Quincy Wilson just by Quincy. Okay. All right, there's our lineup for heat number 3. All 6 again. Our field, a little hesitation in 2, but everybody settled. Clean start. In 5 from the Bullis School, Mickey Green picking up the stagger on Thomas from Bishop McNamara. Those 4 on the outside, and what a turn by Dorsey in lane 4. Wow. Miles Dorsey from Bishop McNamara. The part of that race from like 105 meters to 140 was all his.
You can tell Dorsey's run this race before. Did not panic when lanes 5 and 6 got out in front of him. Really made sure he kind of pushed on the gas a little bit on that bank and took it home. Wonderful race from the athlete.
Going to see some additional 21-second entry times as we move through these final 5 sections. That was number 3. This is 4 on the track. Perfect attendance once again going into this one-lap race.
And we're starting to get a couple 21-second Cs here on the outside lanes. You know, once you start to get in that territory, you start to get into the upper reaches of the U.S. rankings.
There is the lineup. Cameron, Leonard, Gardner, Taylor, Outerbridge, Gilmore, Palua, and Davis. Lanes 1 through 6. And we're up and running. Heat number 4, boys 200-meter dash. Kind of tough to tell the difference between lanes 2 through 6. They're all running so well going into the turn. Maybe in lane 4 now. That is Gilmore popping out. Coming off the turn, Ronald Gilmore. But on the outside in 6, the winner, Trey Davis from Albemarle.
Davis used that bank to his advantage down the stretch of this race and kind of took it home by cruising on that outer lane. And one thing I did notice from a couple of these guys when they stood out of their blocks and really just, you know, they need to work a little bit on that start, pushing and driving rather than standing up right away.
And it has to be a little bit of a different technique considering the banking. I mean, you're going on a flat surface where, boom, gravity and all that is going to affect you the same way on the, here you don't want to pop, so you really need to stay low much longer, it seems.
Right. You want to hold that just a little bit longer just to make sure you're getting out of your drive phase.
All right, here we go. We're going to have an open lane, scheduled to have all 6 filled. Lane, heat number 5, it is Jones, Bell, Lane, Samuels, and then on the outside, Ajiko from McKinley Tech.
Still searching for our first 21-second race here.
And we are underway. A clean start for the field. Just a couple blemishes on that 100% pure start record this weekend. And in lane 3, that is Bishop Lane from Delaware. On the outside in 6, Ajiko from McKinley Tech. And the winner on the outside from McKinley Tech.
Strong race from Ajiko. We talked about running within your lane earlier, and he kind of started on the inside, right to the middle of the lane, outside on the second bank, and kind of came home in the middle there. I think he ran that race pretty beautifully, for the distance.
Section number 6, Corey, just looking down on the infield, seeing quite a few mile split T-shirts on the group. Our friend Olivia Ekpone is going to be up later on today and tomorrow. Corey, part of the national team, tell me about some of the content generation that you guys have planned in addition to the live stream that we're doing here right now.
Well, if you don't follow us on social media, make sure you do that at MileSplit on Instagram, at MileSplit on Twitter, and at Facebook. We'll have a ton of social coverage throughout the weekend on those 3 channels. We'll also make sure all of our race videos get up on the site, especially the great ones, the premier ones. We're just going to generate a ton of action interviews, stories, everything you would want to see from a track meet.
All right, you just saw the lineup for heat number 6. All 6 lanes are occupied. Belote, Hall, Portelet, Long, Simpson, and Robinson, heat 6. Once again, a sprinter from the Bullis School in lane 5. On the outside in 6, that is Robinson. Long in 4, and in between him, Simpson from the Bullis School.
Long really used that bank to his advantage, really slingshotted around it. Oh! He was in control in the final meters, lost it, I think, with his footing a little bit, and hate to see it.
It is not easily done, just even to take a stroll in the outer lanes, coming off the banking. This is an exact science, the design and placement of these 200 banked ovals, but the human body, again, gets used to running in a certain way, and all of a sudden, sort of like the floor drops out from underneath you.
Cart before the horse a little bit, maybe saw the finish line.
Okay.
I think that's a learning lesson there.
All right, section number 7, our next to last grouping. And Corey had talked about the 21s. 3 athletes on the outside, Brown, Walker, and Samuels, all listed next to 21-second seed times. The inside lanes, Adams, Warmington, and Gow.
And what it will take is generating a ton of power in this first 50 meters and really maintaining that top speed on the backstretch and really just maintaining it, as you finish your race. Really, it takes a very controlled but also a consistent race to get in those 21s.
And we've seen some pretty decisive moves in that 100 to 150 meter territory in these earlier boys heats. We're underway. Again, number 7 of 8 in 5. That is Makai Walker sneaking up on Mason Samuels from Bishop McNamara, but in 4, running a very strong turner, LeEzra Brown from Dudley. He's got the lead coming off the turn, side by side with Makai Walker. It is going to be from Dudley, LeEzra Brown, his time. There we go, 21.
Kind of came up a little bit in the final 5 meters. He didn't, run through the line. So I think he has a little bit more in the tank, for his next race. But that was the second half. That was the second half earner there from Brown. Really earned that in those final moments.
And he had a bounce in his stride as he jogged away from the track. Definitely excited by that 21.97 performance. Final group. And it does appear that we will have at least one scratch. So the lineup: Palaleo in 2, Rivera in 3, Truitt in 4. Check that, a scratch also in 3. So Palaleo in 2, Truitt in 4, Hughes in 5, and Todd in lane 6. Those 3 on the outside separated by less than 1/10 of a second.
So Todd, Hughes, Truitt are the guys to watch. They're seated at 21-2. All could potentially command this race, take the win here. We have effectively nicknamed Antoine Hughes Flash for this weekend, so he should be the favorite here.
And a very solid start. Wow, he's already started to eat up that stagger in the first 50 meters, not getting it done completely. But Flash is in the lead right now. But on the inside, that is Truitt inching up, longer strides. A quick turnover by Flash, but now regaining his composure.
Heck of a race from all 3 athletes. They all worked for it, made sure they finished under 22 seconds there.
Wesley Todd looking at the board, he sees 21.92, his time the fastest in the 8 sections, winning that final section number 8. Hughes at 22.08 and Truitt at 22.14. So that race, it's only a half of a lap on an outdoor track, but it was 3 or 4 storylines. The amazing start by Flash, kept his composure, ate up the stagger, then all of a sudden we got 2 other runners right next to him.
And that concludes the 200s. We're going to move to the 55-meter hurdles here on the girls' side next.
And at the same time, we will have the 1,600-meter runs being contested on the oval. You'll see the in the far right of your screen, whether it's a laptop, smartphone, or a big screen TV, the high jump and pole vault mats have been set up as the barrier in between our the outrun for our hurdlers and the ladies doing the 1,600. And we're underway with our first 55 hurdle race.
The second hurdle race.
Second heat.
Chu, Duncan, Penisotto, Hopkins, Thomas, Hatcher, Crowder, and Neville.
So from the Bullis School with the victory, the girls' high school hurdles, if you're not familiar, 33 inches tall, 5 of those over this 55-meter distance. And again, not the, let's say, standard distance anymore. Indoors, normally the 60, so we'll see the 55s, and at some meets also have the cameras set up at both locations.
8-2-1 for Cassidy taking that heat. That's Cassidy Hopkins from Bullis School. So just for your reference here on the stream, because we have a couple races about to start at the same time, the 1,600 meters and the 55, we're going to focus on the 55-meter hurdles here because they are qualifying for the finals. We will try to kind of, we have get a wider shot at some point to see how the 1,600 meters is doing, but we're focusing on the 55-meter hurdle here for the stream.
And the 1,600, the first of 13 sections, so quite a lot of oval action going on, as you might be able to hear the F-18 Super Hornet jets rumbling overhead of our location here, just a handful of blocks from the Atlantic Ocean. They're part of NAS Oceania, keeping our nation safe along the eastern seaboard.
So heat 3, one big name to watch is Shakayla Lavender of Oscar Smith in lane 4. Only seat under 8 seconds here. She is a star in the making here from Virginia, and could be sort of the next coming there, in the 100-meter hurdles in the outdoor season too. So watch out for lane 4 here in the 55-meter hurdles.
And Corey, so much happens so fast in this event. Again, the hurdle's only 33 inches high. It is a sprint hurdle event, and the clockings for the pros in the 12 seconds, and a runner goes down on the outside in 8. So even though they're only 33 inches, they can trip you up, and she is still down.
And Lavender actually got beat in that section from Princess Jackson, it looks like, taking that section on her inside. The hurdles is all about precision over the hurdles and making sure your steps are completely accurate. So if you make one mistake, you're done. 8.18 for that section there, Princess Jackson.
And the starter's pistol you heard is to kick off our first section of the girls 1600. And again, how close you can get to those hurdles, extremely important to keep your time in the air as limited as possible. So you'll see the 1600 runners on their first lap coming in and out of the frame as we are set up for heat number 4 of the girls 55 hurdles, originally scheduled for 6. The first one was nixed, so we went through 2 through 6, filling in the holes to keep full fields.
Elisa Samuel in lane 4 here from Somerset Academy in Florida, 7.89 seed, a high school junior and a future star in that state as well. More than likely is going to have a very good performance here. She's one of the athletes to watch for this event.
So the second fastest seed time that Corey just mentioned is 7:89 in this entire field. And a clean start in again in the middle of the track. That is Samuel. Already has about a 3-meter lead going into the 5th and final. Barrier sprints through the line and all the way actually through the 60-meter marking.
Clinical. Only way to describe it, Samuel was clinical over the hurdles there. 8.808 seconds for Elisa Samuel to take the section. And I think she looks at it, she knows she can improve just a little bit more, try to get under 8 seconds here.
So that was the fastest by 1/10 of a second thus far. As we head to our next to last section for this event, another runner in the 7/8, also representing the Bullis School.
That's Kennedy Flynn from Bullis. And the one thing, you don't have to wonder, who is from the Bullis School, because on the very back of their jerseys, they have a huge B. That's some good design work, I would say, from the school to make sure everybody knows who's running in what jersey.
Now, I know there have been some of the ladies on the Bullis School roster this morning have had longer hairstyles, longer than I ever wore, I know that much, that covered up the big B. But yeah, that kit has been front and center on day 1 at this year's VA Showcase. Phil Grove Old School Track, along with Corey Mall, getting things rolling with mile splits, wire-to-wire coverage of this year's VA Showcase.
Girls are down in their blocks here for the 55.
Couple of scratches on the outside, so we're active in lanes 1 through 6. And in the middle of the track, 4 and 5, Kennedy and Rice.
Flynn actually getting tested on that inside right there. She does walk away with the victory here, but that was a pretty good race from Ava Rice of Battlefield.
She was with her every step of the way, and actually probably had a better lean at the finish. She gets it, same time, 8:05, new number 1.
Okay, they will meet again in the finals. We'll see who can come out on top, but this is a moment where you use it. A girl next to you might be a Division I athlete next year. Maybe you don't have that scholarship yet. This is a place where you can make a statement, test yourself.
Scouring the mile split websites to check out the numbers and who ran what where if they're with their team in another event this weekend. But 8:05, the potentially a PR by 0.13 of a second over 55 meters.
Yeah, there are plenty of unsigned seniors across the U.S. That are still looking at their options. Drew Dillard, I saw him earlier today. He's one of them from Mark Bishop Carroll, looking through his potential options down the road. Iowa, South Carolina, among others. I mean, this is a place where you can solidify yourself in that regard.
All right, Corey, our looks like fifth and final athlete coming in who's run in the sevens in this event, in the middle of the track in this final heat. That is Jocelyn Hamilton from Rollsville High.
University of South Carolina commit there. Top seed in this section.
And it looks like one of the starters, I don't know if he gave the entire field the yellow card because things were a little slow in getting started, but walked out to the middle of the track and held up the yellow card. So everyone is on alert, I think, in this one. Ladies, let's get rolling. Yeah. Lots of races to get in one day's schedule.
Not playing around here at the VA Showcase, that's for sure. I can imagine they're probably not going to be too lenient this weekend.
And that was pretty quick through the cycle and in the middle of the track. Again, Jocelyn Hamilton up by 3 meters over the fifth and final and eases through the finish line, shuts it down, puts on the brakes. 8:05 ties the top time. 3 at 8:05.
Walked it through there too, showing a little bit of that spunk, I think. She knows she's in that position. She's there, she's earned it. And now we're going to see her in the finals to see if she can win the championship here.
So it looks like, are we flipping back to heat number 1 potentially? We have another group of 55-meter hurdlers. Or this is the unseated, I'm sorry. The unseated group, all right. That's where we are, and we have a total of 12 of those on the infield. 5 hurdles, 33 inches tall. And the best time in the seated sections, once again, 8:05 by 3 of our athletes. And we're up and going in lane number 3. That is Alea Whitfield from Gahanna-Lincoln in Central Ohio with the win.
Shout out Ohio, coming all the way over to Virginia. 8:75 for the PR, it looks like, for Whitfield here. Intersection.
And Corey, you mentioned earlier about the experience factor coming to a meet like this, coming and running against, having a D1 athlete on your left and right, and how that really, maybe changes your focus on the sport. He's like, you know what? I did pretty well against these folks.
Yeah, you prove that you belong. I mean, even if you're a margin off. I think the difference between a win and a loss can often come down to that.
And once again, the 1,600-meter competitors are underway as our second unseated section. Oh, and one of the runners, hurdlers in lane 1 goes down in the middle of the track in 4 and 5, a really tight race and a good one in the second heat of the unseated hurdles. A pair of 941s for DeMarcellis, and that looked like that might have been Hayden. Again, 941.
I did like the response there from the athlete that went down after hurdle 1, got right back up, confidently kind of made herself over the hurdles to finish out the race. That's what you need to do.
Heat number 3, and there is the field on the track, and we are rolling already. And in lane 3, that's Simone Arrington. Had come in running under 9 seconds in this event.
Might try to get this rolling maybe a little bit quicker here with the sections kind of coming up on top of one another.
And she, it looks like, took just a little bit off of her indoor best in the 55 hurdles, went 8:96. Drops that by 1/100th of a second. I know, Corey, since we have just a brief second, mention some of the distance runners I know you guys profiled, since we do have the heats of the girls 1,600 rolling along on the oval.
Well, on the boys' side in some of the elite sections, I think The one big athlete you have to keep in mind is Noah Valio of Athens Drive, North Carolina. I think he's someone that could really perform at a high level here in that 1,600-meter race. We also have the likes of Dawson Reeves of Christ School, Nayan Kasparowski, and James Partlow. I think those guys could potentially make an effort under 4:10. And then in the 3,200 meters, Berkeley Nance from Mills Godwin, 4th place at Foot Locker Nationals. I think he has the potential to go under 9 here in the 3,200 meters, this weekend.
All right, so another sub-9 second clocking Ava Carr from Howard, running 8:98. And for the girls, I know I'll throw out one of the names that I know was on your preview list, Logan St. John Clutter from Mount Lebanon in southwestern PA, a Foot Locker National finalist, also a state champion, and has already been very busy this indoor season. I think 4:48 in the mile distance.
Funny story, Phil. We saw her yesterday here at the facility and said hello to her and gave her best wishes. But yeah, she obviously is a runner on the rise in Pennsylvania, and I think she is the type of athlete that can make a statement here at the VA Showcase.
And we had a recall start. The two starters getting together again, wanting to keep the tempo of the meet rolling along, and we just play a yellow card. So it looks like that was to the runner in lane 3, and this is our 5th heat. So Zahara English just getting some direction from one of our starters about the proper protocol. And waiting for the starting gun in the 55-meter hurdles. Day 1 of this year's VA Showcase. And a clean start, and again out well is English, but closing over the final 2 barriers for the victory. Tatiana Burns, she goes sub-9, 8.95 seconds. She runs for Oscar Smith. So I mentioned Logan St. John, some of the other girl distance runners this weekend in Virginia, Corey.
Beyond Logan St. John Clutter, I think there are a host of them. Trying to look up the factions here. Justine Persano of Cuthbert Sin is a great runner from a good program. I think she has the potential to go after a win along with Charlotte Bell, her teammate. Charlotte Bell's running the 1,600 meters. Persano's running the 1K. She'll go up against Ali Delisi of Penn Charter in the 1K. That should be a great race. Then it's Bell, St. John Clutter, and Abby Downen in the 1,600-meter race. Should be a fun one that could get under 4:50. And one other runner to mention, Emma Zawadzki of Freehold Township, New Jersey, running the 3,200 meters against Mary Bonner Dalton and Alyssa Sorrow. I think those 3 are powerhouses. We'll see what they can do.
And you mentioned that unique distance. Normally we see a lot indoors, the 1,000 meters. Again, it gives you an opportunity just to really maybe see how the training is coming along. If you're an 800 runner or 1,600, we'll drop it down, but not too far to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, the indoor season's meant for some non-traditional distances, including the 600, the 1K. In some states they don't run 3Ks, so I think this is a time to kind of run some different tactics.
And since she just arrived up here in our live stream perch, the 500-meter dash. The 500-meter dash is not a run, Olivia. It's a dash. You can't hear me. Oh, well. All right. So again, an 8:75 I just see popped on the board in the unseated sections, Corey. So a really nice time in that last group.
Yeah. Don't sleep on the unseated sections. They still got talent. This is a developmental, I think event for some of these athletes, but they got some star power.
Heat number 7, the lineup real quick. Royce in 2, Scott, Cushing, AM, Davis, Manley, and Banks. Running through the rest of the lanes. It looks like we do have one open lane in 3. In the middle of the track, in lane 5, our leader, that is Yowomi AM from Manor. Oh, but showing the gut and grit. She went down. She tripped over the final hurdle, went down hard, but on her stomach and face just crawled across the finish line. Wow.
Phil, I thought she could have won that race. It's the final hurdle blues for that athlete. Tough pill to swallow, but overall, you got the first 4 hurdles. You just got to finish that 5th one.
Again, hats off to the grit and determination from Tanasia Banks from Tailwood. In that 7th section of the girls' unseeded 55-meter hurdles, with the win up in 9:18 for AM from Manor. Another section of the girls' 1600 underway. I believe that's number 3 of 13. And in the infield, 55-meter hurdles at 33 inches tall, and in lane 3 running very well, showing solid form and good speed.
That arm swing, very clean over the hurdles.
876 for Savannah Hunter.
Just what you were taught from your coaches. I think you got to walk away with that very happy.
And apparently a PR to boot. She came in with a seat time of 8:82. And again, another section of the unseeded girls 55-meter hurdles. And a tight race coming up to the final barrier, a nice lean. And it looks like that's going to be in the 9 seconds, and it is 9.46 seconds for Ainsley Trabinski from Holly Spring. In addition to all the action thus far on the oval, lots of things going on in the infield, in the field events, and also in the cage outside. Corey, fill us in on some of the top field event competitors who made the trip to Virginia Beach.
Well, I think we have to watch out for the triple jump on the boys' side. Tahik Bowie of Potomac is someone who has cleared over 50 feet in that event discipline over the outdoor season. He has yet to do that over the indoor campaign. 2 guys have done it nationally, so I think he's searching for that this season, and I think this is a great opportunity for Bowie to really make his mark there. There's also 2 big high jumpers to watch out for. Christian Hackett of Union Pines going up against Drew Dillard of Archbishop Carroll, both capable of going over 7-foot bar there. I think if we get to 7 feet, that would be quite the accomplishment. And then we got a pole vault battle, Phil. You know, we have Alex Georgiev of Montverde Academy out of Florida, over 16 feet, going up against Drake Risser of Lower Dauphin, my alma mater from PA. So I'm really pulling for my guy, Drake Risser, in the pole vault on the boys' side.
Very cool, about 50 feet in the triple. And again, thinking of some of the other, iconic numbers in the field events for, on the high school side, a 60-foot shot putter, that's a number that always, hey, this guy is good. But 50 in the triple, that is really rarefied air.
And we do have a couple athletes in the U.S. this year that are very, very accomplished. Xavier Drumgold is one of them. Jaden Lippett is another. Tahik looking to put his name into that conversation over the indoor campaign. And this is a beautiful place to get that done.
The last couple heats of the girls' 55-meter hurdles unseeded have been really tight. That one, just 0.03 of a second separated the top 2. The one before, it looked like was maybe 100th of a second, if not a dead heat, as we saw in the seeded sections, to get us to the point of an 8:05 being the top performance for the girls over 55-meter hurdles in the seeded and or unseeded sections. And this is number 12, the final heat of the girls' 55-meter unseeded hurdle races.
Yeah, in lane 6 we got Lauren Diago of Eleanor Roosevelt, 877 seed. We'll see if she can go under 9 seconds in this section.
And a full field and a good start, and there she is out in 6. Some difficulty, some of these other athletes clearing these 33-inch barriers, but smooth 8.88 with the win and under 8 seconds. Our 12th and final section, so they'll move the hurdles around, bump the height up 6 inches, and get ready for the boys' 39-inch barriers.
So we're getting ready here for the start of the 55-meter hurdles boys seeded division. We have 6 sections here looking to qualify for the finals. Top 8 times will move on to the finals here at the VA Showcase. And we're looking at some of the best hurdlers in the country here over these 6 sections. First one up here, we have 8 athletes across their lanes. We have Parker in 1, Wood in 2, Spellings in 3, Mack in 4, Burke in 5, Bedford in 6, Thomas in 7, and Tyler Brock in 8.
Well, Corey, the throws gods must have known we were talking about the top throwers in field events. I just had a call from Dave Murray, Hempfield area coach back in Western PA, one of the top coaches in top throws programs, winning state championships left and right. Some weather coming into play in Western PA, calling for very high winds, and the Venerable Bubble in Edinburgh, they canceled the meet up there because of fear that the bubble could blow in and collapse. 60, 70 mile an hour wind. So athletes are scrambling to go to meets and find places where they can go. So they're heading across the line to Youngstown State in the 300 oval over there at the Watts Center. All right, boys, 60, 55, I'll get it right. 55-meter hurdles, 39 inches tall, 5 hurdles. And again, that big adjustment period for these athletes when they go to the college side. They have to go to 42s, but 39s are really tricky also.
We got a selection of seeds here under 7'8". Kobe Mack's the top one, 7'5", 7.
In lane 4, a very good start for Kobe Mack. But on the outside in 7, got into a rhythm. He's happy, he's clapping, and with the win, DeAndre Thomas.
The celebration of victory, DeAndre Thomas. He is stoked out of his mind right there. 7.66 in the 55-meter hurdle. That is a huge PR for him, at least nearly 0.2 of a second.
And he's still running away. He has not slowed down. And that was kicked in about hurdle 3 that he really gained on Mack in the middle of the track. He was off by himself. He gets a big hug. I assume with his coach outside the venue, 7:66, a big number, wins by 0.08 of a second. And again, the boys' high hurdles, 39 inches, whether it's indoors or out. 5 hurdles over this 55-meter distance. And the high hurdles, one of the marquee events all time for American men. And just in recent years, on the high school and college scene, it's just completely exploded. And this is the home place for one of those athletes that we ran into a year ago. Maybe he'll be back here again this year.
You talking about Mr. Holloway?
Yes.
Mr. Grant Holloway from Chesapeake himself. Maybe we will see him. But in the meantime, we have heat 2 of 6 here in the 55-meter hurdles. We have Booker in 1, Dabbs in 2, Felder in 3, Smith in 4, Dillard in 5, Ecton in 6, Kemmerer in 7, Bowie in 8, Antonio Smith of Western Branch, 7.55 seat time, Drew Dillard, Archbishop Carroll, 7.58. Those are the 2 guys to watch. Dillard's about 6'6", very tall. So getting out of the blocks for him has just been a process, and that'll be critical here.
Now, actually, you took the thought right out of my head. Not everybody has the inseam of a Grant Holloway, but he is close at 6'6", so obviously he needs to get unwound, and there he is in the middle of the track in lane 5, coming on, and he's going to pick up the win.
He will.
And it took him to about hurdle 3, really, to seemingly fall into a rhythm and get that full frame of his stretched out.
I mean, you really got to work on your step pattern here in the hurdles, and he is a taller individual. So for him to get to the hurdle, he gets there quicker than most other males. I think he has a built-in sort of advantage, and I think he's worked through his technique beautifully here to earn the section win.
So it looks like just a 100th of a second off his lifetime best. He goes 7:59. That is the new #1 time. We also had Antonio Smith go 7:54. So already 3 times at 7:66 or faster. Section number 3 of 6. The lineup: Miller, Boateng, Momolu, Hinton, Hayes, Williams, Bailey, and Redden in the middle of the track. A couple of 7.5 hurdlers: Micah Hinton from Western Branch and Isaiah Hayes from Phoebus.
Now, as we've seen, the difference between a win and a loss is really just being clinical over the hurdles, you know, making sure you're faster than the next guy, but also getting your steps right, being precise over the hurdles, and then finishing at the line, the first line, not the second line. We're going 55, not 60. So you need all these factors adding up for you to get your best race here.
And that field of 8, they are all at the starting line. So a lot of things happen when it comes to contact with the hurdles, etc. during the high hurdles. And again, the smallest man in the field in lane 4, and he is flying.
Look at that man go.
Wow.
55 hurdles. That is Micah Hinton of Western Branch, a program known for hurdle dominance.
7:45.
Hey, new US 1.
Wow.
Unbelievable moment there for Hinton. Just absolutely dominated in a race that the margins are so small.
The amount of time he spent in the air was just incredibly small. He was up and down and moving along.
That is
Micah Hinton.
U.S. number 10 time, I believe. U.S. number 11 time.
7:45. Wow. So a new top mark in the seeded races for the boys 55-meter hurdles. 7:45 and a PR by 1/10 of a second, it appears, for Micah Hinton from Western Branch.
So we kind of saw the dichotomy there between a tall hurdler like Dillard kind of making his way through 55-meter hurdles, you know, with his length, and then we had Hinton, who's, you know, power packed in a small package, right? And you know, those two athletes got there a different way, but they had the same mission. You know, run fast, run my best, and it doesn't have to be done the same way. It's one thing to keep in mind.
And they're also both three-stepping in between hurdles. So, I mean, they're getting it done technically the same way. They're going over, they're being smooth, they're not hitting the hurdles, spending as little time in the air as possible.
So in this section, we have Ezra Brown, who we saw earlier, I believe, in the 200. He's coming back for the 55-meter hurdles. He's in lane 4. We have D'Angelo, Cavalsi, Coleman, Glanville, Becton, Morales, and Griffin.
So everybody's called up. We get a yellow card, it looks like, handed out to out in lane 7 of Mason Morales from Stonebridge. Not exactly certain what was going on with that one, but again, our head starter and assistant starters definitely in tune with the comings and goings of these athletes, going into the box, settling, and then start hopefully after the gun sounds.
Brown has the top seed here, 7.54. Glanville 7.59 in lanes 4 and 5.
And a full field and a good start again for Brown. He was on the track earlier with the win in the 200, and he's going to win his section of the 55. Turns around, stares at a new top time, 7:44, the same bounce we saw earlier after his 200.
That's power. Ezra Brown has absolute power out of the blocks, over the hurdles, into the finish line. This guy exudes it. There's no surprise why he's leading right now. He's got that power.
So he wins that one by almost 0.2 of a second. His 7.44, now the best by just 100th over Micah Hinton. Heat number 5 of 6. And we do have, Corey, a couple 7.4s and 7.3s when it comes to seed time. So that 7.44 is not safe just yet.
No, and I think we could see that being broken, potentially even maybe someone going into that U.S. top 5 ranks here too. Waterman right now, U.S. 5. He's in Heat 6 of 6. But in 5, we have White, Fermenis, Ratliff, Smith, Ekapong, Pimentel, Webster, and Morris. Joshua Kai Smith from Garfield is the top seed.
And we had mentioned, Holloway earlier, the premier athletes at the highest level in this event, it really is poetry in motion. If they're not hitting hurdles, if they're close to the hurdle, spending little time in the air, it is just amazing to see those athletes and their movements in this event.
So Joshua Kai Smith is just a high school sophomore from Woodbridge, Virginia. He's run a couple times already, so that means he's already tuned up and has sort of some of those kinks worked out already. So we could potentially see one of his best times is run 7.34 for the 55-meter hurdles, although he's seated higher than that, 7.47.
And this is an event, Corey, that just about every high school team can simulate in some way, start first and second hurdle in their high school gym in a hallway or something. I mean, again, to get the feel of a race situation versus a 200 on a banked oval.
Yeah, nothing like those high school hallway trainings, which are ubiquitous everywhere in the Northeast.
"50 hallways to the mile," right? Something like that. Heat number 5. And it looks like, yep, in lane 4, and he knows it.
And that was a matter of him trying to read the starter, trying to read the gun a little bit. That is a young athlete trying to predict the future. If you're his coach,
And I don't think the conversation is going to go on very long between our starters. I think that's going to come up red. And indeed it does.
They have not been lenient so far. They're going to oust you here. You really have to be on your P's and Q's and your blocks here at the VA Showcase. So that was potentially one of our threats to get in the finals, possibly to win. He is out.
So now this sort of opens this race up really for a couple other athletes who were at least 0.2 of a second behind on the performance list.
Yeah, maybe on the fringes.
And the middle of the track is wide open. First three and outside 3 lanes. We'll see who takes advantage of the situation in one. That is White's early leader. It's a close race on the outside in lane 6. The winner, Alfonso Pimentel from Fordham Prep.
Yeah, from hurdle 3 to 5, found his rhythm and cruised into that finish line with confidence.
And normally we wouldn't be talking in these advanced heats about a 7-7 in the boys 55 hurdles of a seeded section being a winner. But again, Alfonso Pimentel from Fordham Prep takes advantage of the circumstances around him and picks up the win.
It all leads us into the final heat, though, the hot heat, as they say, with the best talent here at the VA Showcase, with a finals berth on the line. And you know, the guy that we have to talk about is Anthony Waterman, U.S. number 5 right now in the hurdles. He has gone 7-3-7 there. He's going to face up against Austin in 1, Davis in 2, Middleton in 3, Saunders in 5, Ravello in 6, Monkey in 7, Reeves in 8.
Not much time really to think through this race, Corey. You're reacting at the gun. You're reacting. You know, you can adjust your form if you really hammer a hurdle hard, but really not too much time and think through this. You really just have to trust the process.
You do, yeah. You have to trust your steps. You have to trust that you have prepared for this moment. And you know, these guys were in the warm-up area for an hour or two before their race, is just making sure they were ready for this. So Waterman has been really consistent already on the season. 7.4s, a 7.53, a 7.37. So, you know, no one on this line is as experienced as him in this moment. We'll see if he can use that to his advantage here.
And he is in the middle of the track in lane 4, 1 open lane out in 7. Fairly significant hold. We'll see how that affects our eventual leader. And look at that form. Hurdles 2, 3, 4, and 5. Kicking it up, and it's going to be right in the low 7.4s, maybe 7.3, 7.40. A new top time this morning in the boys 55 hurdles seated section.
No debate from Waterman. He was the guy to beat. He's the guy that won. He ran another consistent time on the season, his third 7.4 on the year. So he knows he's in that range. Now it's a matter of, can I click off the hundredths of a second from my best?
And we will segue right into the unseeded sections of the boys 55 hurdles. We have 9 of those scheduled. And this is heat number 1. The lineup: Liu, Curry, Corprew, Matheny, Waters, Jackson, and Johnson. Looks like 1 open lane. And a good start and a clean start in lane 3. That's Ziante Corprew. He's got company at the line, but he windmills his way through. He will pick up the win. Looks like right in the neighborhood of 8 flat, 8:01. Actually giving that to Trevor Curry in 3. All right, so Curry with the win, 8:01. And Kendrick Matheny at 8:06 in second.
Surprised by anything yet, Phil?
I mean, just how, not surprised, but again, year after year, just how deep a team like Bullis is. You know, just constantly out there in lane 5 and 6, the top seed times through all those 200s this morning. And we'll see much more of that on display throughout the weekend. But again, it's still early in January. And the performances that, I mentioned earlier, I brought up how the comparison to like the Penn relays, where you see those 4x8 teams from Pennsylvania, some of them running their best times of the year before the May Flowers erupt. And then at the end of May in Shippensburg, they run 2 or 3 seconds slower because it's Penn. Everything is together. The atmosphere, the adrenaline, whatever it is, they do it.
Yeah, I think the environment has a big factor in how you perform in track. The environment, the crowd, the stadium, the arena, the track, everything kind of contributes, I think, to a moment like that if you race up to it.
And again, 1,600-meter races going on the oval, and the boys unseated 55 hurdles on the infield. In lane 6, that is Matthias Squire from DeMatha Catholic. Saw his teammate throw a 7:40 together. He goes 7:94. So 2 hurdlers on that team under 8 seconds.
Strong performance there from DeMatha Catholic. Next section up here on the track, 3 of 9. We have Dancy in 1, Lathrop in 2, Chantre in 3, Johnson in 4, Seidel in 5, Pizambono in 6, Mokai in 7, and Kembade in 8. Top seat time here is Seidel in 5, 8:12, Pizambono 8:19 in 6. And they are out there in lane 3 after a strong start, but now on the outer lanes, back-to-back in 5 and 6. Lane 5 is going to take that. That's Seidel, 7:97 to take the heat.
So some good side-by-side racing over those final 2 hurdles. Equates to a 7:97 and an 8:01. And quite a distance up on the rest of the field, as this is heat number 4 coming to the blocks of the boys' 55-meter hurdles, the unseeded group. Still athletes with performances in the low 8s on the infield contesting this event. And lanes 1 through 7 are occupied. And called to their blocks as the girls' 1,600-meter run heats just over halfway through this one on the oval. You'll see them going by in the background as we focus on the start. This heat number 4 of the boys' 55 hurdles. And it is a clean start and a very good one in lane 3. That's Michael Fulton from Lake Braddock. 7:99. So Fulton previously 8:11 and very happy, blowing kisses to his supporters. 7:99 for Michael Fulton. Time to get another race underway at the midpoint of the boys' 55-meter high hurdles, unseeded group. And this is a tight one through the first 2 hurdles, and still three runners with a chance to get the win. And in the middle of the track, Quentin Newkirk from Atkins, his 8:16 betters his seed time of 8:17 coming in. Nice run. Derek Harrell from Oscar Smith, his seed finishes second. The results on your screen, whether you have that smartphone, laptop, big screen TV following along today. Thanks for being with us, and my thanks to the crew today.